Welcome to the latest Libertas video. Today we're going to be talking about some of the thoughts and reactions to E3, where Ubisoft really gave us our first good look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is going to be their latest game coming out on October 5th to basically all the consoles, PlayStation, Xbox, PC. Very cool, very cool. We did a pre-E3 theories and assumptions where we did speculate that this could be during the Peloponnesian War, and of course it turned out that that's exactly where Assassin's Creed is going for their next game. Really cool time period, very tumultuous. Greece is kind of in an uproar, and there's a lot of potential for very interesting narrative to be weaved into such a big conflict that affected a lot of people for a good majority of 30 years. So with that said, let's jump in. I'm going to apologize right up front. A lot of this stuff is kind of all over the board. I'm just kind of picking things that really stood out to me. So maybe they stood out to you too, but let's get going. First things first is they are going to be the furthest back they've ever done an Assassin's Creed game, and it's predating Origins, which is extremely strange because that's where we saw the beginning of the Brotherhood. Bayek and his ideology and Aya create the foundation of what we know as the Assassins today, or by the canon, what we know of this as the Assassins. They were the hidden ones. This one's predating them by about 400 years, and so well before the notion of the hidden ones. And of course in Assassin's Creed lore they say this conflict has been going on so long, far beyond where they ever defined the lines of Assassin and Templar. So it's not strange that they're doing this, but at the same time, I'm very interested to see how they pulling in any of the lore. I hope they do. I hope they really work with concepts of the ones who came before, the precursor race, like Juno and what was it, Jupiter and Minerva, all these people that really engaged a lot with Ezio and somewhat with Connor, and then we've kind of not really dealt with them too much since then. I really hope we kind of start bringing back that thread, because the further back in history, the more opportunity I believe you have to do this. I think it would be really cool, and I don't think they'll ever do it, but for them to have done a Trojan War where, you know, Homer puts it as the gods are fighting with man in this conflict. If you followed that pretty closely, a lot of opportunities for having like precursor people fighting against one another, but also on the sides of the Greeks and the Trojans. So a lot of opportunity there, but nevertheless, what they're doing with the Peloponnesian War is extremely exciting. Of course, it pits Sparta against Athens, the two powerhouses of Greece at the time, and there was huge conflict. We'll go into in a separate video the Peloponnesian War in more depth and see how that could play out, but I think it's a really cool time period. It's very much classical Greece, hoplite armies dominating the landscape, and naval combat is huge for this time period as well, so I think there's a lot of cool opportunities. Of course, you have two heroes that you get to choose from right at the beginning of the game. They all have the exact same story, but allows you to choose if you want to play as a male or female protagonist. We got Alexios, the male, and Cassandra, the female. Now, I'm sure my wife is going to be playing as Cassandra, and I'll be playing as Alexios. From the footage that we've seen, it looks like Cassandra might have a little bit stronger performance delivery to the medium. It seems like she's a little bit more natural and less stiff. But of course, this is initial look at footage. This is not the final end game, so I'm interested to see how that improves as we go along. But they both look like they can be solid characters, and hopefully they'll have individual quirks that'll make it worth playing the game twice to see which character you like better. But of course, it presents many possible, interesting facts. But the idea is that they were kind of thrown away by their parents or sent away in the Spartan fashion. Probably in an attempt to save their life, considering that in the cinematic you see them have the Spear of Leonidas strapped to their back, getting thrown off somewhere, presumably the sea, and then raised as a mercenary Of course, you have the blood of Leonidas in you. You have his spear. So you have a really intriguing, mysterious origin story, and you're trying to figure out what the heck happened. I think it could be a very interesting story to see how that plays out, especially with the fact that they are doing choice. It's their big theme for this game, and so dialogue choices that affect how you play and how people react to you. Hopefully that is going to be true, and what people are saying it is. We do have, I think, a lot more to see. Of course, Gamescom will be coming up. Plenty of other places where Ubisoft will be toting new features that they did not release at E3. This is just, you know, strategy for them. But I expect that we'll see more about crafting, not just armor and weapons and making them better, hopefully, but also improving your ship, building up your mercenary crew, and hopefully, I hope there's additional details that we do get to investigate. I think just little touches like being able to change your character's hairstyle, facial hair, to just make him more personable to you. I mean, in some ways we had that with Bayek, where you could change his hair or toggle his hair on and off, and his beard on and off, and the hood on and off. I hope we have some sort of customization. I'm not looking for stuff like Skyrim or anything like that, but to build upon that I think would be really cool. And also changing colors. I mean, we've done that in previous Assassin's Creed games, which was somewhat of their limited customization, but I think it would be kind of cool if you really wanted to craft a character that you like, and say you get a helmet and it's got a red crest and you want a blue crest because you like blue. I think it would be kind of a cool thing for Ubisoft to incorporate, but nevertheless, we'll see. I'm sure there'll be plenty more information to go along. There's a lot of cool historical characters that we will be meeting in this story as well, which will be very exciting. Herodotus being one of them, Pericles. Got some cool opportunities, and they're saying that we're going to be meeting up with some legendary figures and mythological characters. So I think they're expanding upon what they did with Origins. In a sense, you know, like when you fought that giant snake, bigger battles like that I think would be really cool. Maybe they'll bring back fighting the gods again. I don't know how that will work, but it'd be kind of interesting and cool. I really hope that there is some sort of mythological connection. Say finding the armor of Achilles. I could see that being one of the main armor sets that we need to find. Of course, that presents options. Another thing that I was thinking about was the map. What we saw at E3, I wonder if that is the official final map. It might be, very well. But considering the Peloponnesian War expanded far beyond what we see in that map, right now we see Greece and some of the islands. The Peloponnesian War really dealt with city-states that ranged all the way up into Asia Minor. There are Greek city-states up there that kind of rebelled against the Persians and were part of the Delian League, which was Athens' empire. And then also a lot of the main conflict that was the turning tide in the war was over in Sicily, which is on the other side of Italy. So there's huge opportunities for the map to be way larger than we anticipate. Will they do it? I kind of doubt it, but I do think that would leave options for DLC, such as we saw with the Hidden Ones or with the Curse of the Pharaohs, introducing new regions. I could see us seeing a Sicilian campaign and also stuff up in Asia Minor has potential. So hopefully we'll have a lot of cool stuff going on there. Another thing that I think is sad as an Assassin's Creed fan is the loss of the Hidden Blade, especially considering it's in a time period where technically the Hidden Blade does exist. It was used to kill Xerxes. Xerxes has died before the taking place of this game, and the fact that Aya got the first Hidden Blade from Cleopatra, who was of the dynasty of Ptolemy, and Ptolemy was a general of Alexander the Great, and Alexander the Great, his father, united or conquered Greece, however you want to look at it, and there is potential then that somehow that Hidden Blade could have made it to Greece and then made it around again back to Egypt. There is potential. But it seems like they're really going to be focusing on using the Spear of Leonidas as the replacement. Probably couldn't pick a better weapon to replace it with than the Spear of Leonidas, but as an Assassin's Creed fan who finds the Hidden Blade to be so iconic, and one of the things I look forward to is seeing what the new Hidden Blade's going to look like. The fact that they're taking it away is a little disappointing, but once again, willing to be impressed and proven wrong that you need a Hidden Blade to be an assassin. Another thing that I found interesting from the gameplay footage that they've shown is the removal of using the shield. Of course, Bayek had a shield in Assassin's Creed Origins. Looks like a lot of the animations are based around the same animations that we saw in Origins. So the fact that they're taking away the shield is a little interesting, disappointing, considering that they went out of their way to make this game pre-Assassin's Creed or Assassin's development. So they took away the Hidden Blade. They're making it this whole portion of being a Greek hoplite or mercenary that uses hoplite armor, and you take away the shield. That seems very, very illogical. Now I know they're probably trying to focus you on using that Spear of Leonidas, and I could be wrong. They might just not be showing off the shield right now. They might be improving it and making it better. But from all the things that we've seen, they might be taking it away. And I think it's a detriment, and maybe, you know, maybe the fans can get out there and say, hey, we really want a shield in this game, and I'm sure Ubisoft could find a way. Since it was in Origins, I think they could do it. Now, granted, it is a massive shield, so doing parkour and a lot of that stuff with a massive shield doesn't make a lot of sense. But maybe using smaller shields, especially as a mercenary, could be an option. And anyway, I think it would be a detriment to not have this hoplite armor and not be able to use a hoplon, which is why they are called hoplites. So anyway, other things that I saw was the 1v1 combat, which a lot of people are praising in the game. Now this is, of course, they say will happen where they pit battles. Now this reminds me a lot of Syndicate, where the gangs would come and fight each other. Of course, this is being made by the Syndicate team, so it doesn't surprise me that they've included that portion of their game in here. But nevertheless, you see this conflict of Sparta versus Athens kind of playing out. And from what I see, though, is it's all this one-on-one combat, which is not the way that the Greeks fought at that time period. They fought in the phalanx. I think the Spartans would have 8 men across, 4 men deep, creating a shield wall. Half your shield, because it was so big, would cover your buddy next to you, and half your buddy next to you would have his shield covering you. Create this impenetrable steel, or not steel, but bronze shield wall, and you'd fight with your spear, and you kind of bash at each other until one side won. The fact that they not show that off, especially being such a game that's based around history and wanting to show crucial points in history, to take that away as well is, I hope they don't. I hope they don't. I hope these one-on-one battles are more aftermath of the phalanx falling down and people now are one-on-one. But it's just not all that historically accurate, and I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why they would do it this way. Nevertheless, I think it would be a really cool game mechanic is if either with your mercenaries or taking command of a phalanx, having them move as one. Like, consider the option of your character combining in and leading a group of 32 guys who are fighting by your command. So you could say like spear, and they could all thrust at one point, or block and they all hunker down in their shield. You know, you could try push, you know, retreat. Doing stuff like that as an extension of a character could be really cool. I mean, you could see people fall as, you know, like almost a visual representation of your health, and your guys could, I mean, you want to make sure that your guys are taken care of, especially if you've been building up a mercenary crew that are unique. And moving as a single unit could be really, really cool, and I think that would be an amazing game mechanic, especially considering how important the phalanx is to the hoplites and the Greeks at the time. I hope that that's something that they can include into the game. They might very well just not do that at all. It might not incorporate very well at all, but could have been a really cool game mechanic. And And who knows? Let's hope for it. And of course, I do think that this is going to be a very fun, interesting game. I don't think people are going to be blown away by it like they were with Origins. I think Origins was somewhat of a success just because it was such a breath of fresh air. And it's not to say that Odyssey is not going to be good because it doesn't have that 1 year gap between. I don't think they need that. They proved with Brotherhood, they proved with Black Flag that you can take a game that was good, build upon its foundation, and make it even better. The only thing I think people get confused by, and what they would say is it's not as cool, is you're used to a lot of the mechanics, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. Origins was a great game. So building upon a great foundation is not a bad thing. It's just that things become less new. When things become less new, they're less exciting. So for me, one of the cool things about Origins was going around, I'm like, holy cow, I can light things on fire with my torch. Like if I get up close to a fire pit, Bayek will lean over and light it on fire. I'll expect that now in Odyssey. Now there's certainly probably things that they'll add in and new opportunities and little details, but they're not going to be as extensive as they were in Origins. So I think people in some respect will not recognize how good the game is just because it's being built on what was a fundamentally good game. So anyway, that's going to do it for all of these random thoughts. If you made it through this video and you found all that interesting, there's definitely more videos that we can do regarding Assassin's Creed Odyssey as we prepare for its release once again on October 5th. If you like this video, definitely give a like, subscribe to the channel for more of these type of videos. That would be super appreciated. But other than that, that's going to do it for this video. We'll see you on the next Libertas video.